Okay, welcome back, family, to how I sold my soul. The things that happened when I sold my soul. Okay, let's get straight into this. So, on this day, I had just passed my theory test. So, I'm making my way back home. I'm walking up a hill, and then this guy turns the corner. So now he's come off the street he's on, and he's now on the street I'm on. We lock eyes. And you know them ones where, okay, personally for me, I was a bit like, "Oh, who's this guy?" Like, because the area I was in, I wasn't expecting to see a guy like him around. And you can see that he was looking at me that same way. So I knew, I was like, this guy's probably gonna try a thing. So in my head, I'm like, oh, please no, I just want to get home. But lo and behold, he was like, oh, excuse me, boom, boom, boom. And I could just tell straight away, like, nah, I'm not on it. Like, you're not my kind of guy. So I was like, and then he was like, yo, come on, like, quite persistent. So I said, look, I'm not going to cross the road to you because I'm heading this way. So if you want to chat to me, you need to cross the road and follow me along. Me thinking that was going to work and he was going to be like, all right, cool, whatever. She's on the long team. He was like, cool. So he crossed over. I'm like, oh, God, here we go. So now, obviously, he's like, yo, you good, whatever, boom, boom, trying to get my number. And I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, there's absolutely no point. I don't want to take your number, then be dodging your calls or, all them stuff. So I just told him, I was like, oh, look, you know what, man, there's just no point, man. There's no point. And he kept saying, what do you mean there's no point? What do you mean there's no point? And I was like, oh, there's no point. Because obviously I don't want to tell him, like, yo. Then he goes to me, okay, what? Do you smoke? Do you drink? And I was like, because I was not really a drinker. And I wasn't really a smoker technically. Like I said to you in the other parts, it took me a long time to finally be like, I'm a smoker. So by the time he's asked me, I'm definitely still in denial. So I'm like, not really. But he's like, okay, cool, whatever. All right. If you're not, if you don't want to, if you're not feeling me or whatever, then cool. We can just be friends and like link up and have a smoke and a drink together. So I was like, oh, all right, cool, whatever. Then he said to me, look, I'm gonna go and do something, but my battery's dead. So let's meet up at this site. It was like a bus stop that was outside where I was living. Because I said to him, oh yeah, I just live up there. So he was like, oh yeah, there's a bus stop up there. He goes, I'm gonna go do something. My battery's dead. So let's link up at that bus stop in like, I don't know what we agreed. 30 minutes, an hour, 40 minutes. Can't remember what it was. I was like, all right, cool. He went back his way, I went back my way. And then I get home, settling in and all that. And then it just, for some reason, I forgot. So then it came to my head. I was like, oh my days. Like this, I was supposed to meet this guy just outside. And I remember it being like, time had gone by. So I was like, oh, I doubt he'll be there because this 30 minutes over time or something. So I quickly put my flip flops on, up out to sea, and he's there. So I was like, I'm like, oh my days, I'm so sorry. But I felt bad, even though, like I said, I had no intention for all of this anyway. I told him there's no point. But I did feel bad about that. So I was like, I'm really, really sorry, whatever. Come in. So he came to my place, whatever, sat down. He was just telling me about himself, his thing, little introduction. So I was like, okay, interesting, interesting. He was like, yeah, he's not originally from here, but his uncle's from here. So he comes and stays with his uncle basically he lives with his uncle. But every other week or every now and then he goes back to where he's from to spend time with his family. So I was like, oh, okay, cool, makes sense. So time went by, and then you get to know someone, blah blah blah. We become friends, we're feeling each other. So the hour has come now where we're about to get jiggy, and I'm gonna try and explain it the best way possible. Yeah. So I'm laying down and he's laying on top of me, or he's on top of me, whatever. And sorry for the graphics, yeah. No 7 to 10-year-olds, remember. And so now we're about to do the insertion process, yeah. And then the insertion process is happening, yeah. But guys, like something weird happened, which I can't really find the words to say till today. But basically, like as he was entering into my body, it's like I can only use a sound to describe it. It went like something went like this. It went like like out of me. Like I just felt this something came out of me, but not physical stuff. You understand? So I remember thinking, oh, that's strange because like at the end of the day, I'm not a virgin by that point. So I've had a number of insertion experiences, and I had never experienced anything like that. And it wasn't the practical or the physical element of it. It's hard to describe. It was deep, like it was deep. It's so weird. It was just like so. I remember it caught my attention. And at one point, I think I was going to say something, but I didn't really have the words to say. How did you describe it? I'm struggling to describe it now. So trying to describe it there and then in the motion, I kind of just brushed it off. But it's something that stayed with me, I guess, till today. That's why I'm even sharing it with you. It stayed with me. I was like, whoa, what was that? So all I can say, yeah, after that time, I basically like became not obsessed about him, but basically obsessed. Now it's not my first time experiencing becoming obsessive about someone. I do talk about that in part 1 of 10 Ways I Ruined My Life, and I think again in part 3. So if you haven't watched that series, please go and watch that series, 10 Ways I Ruined My Life. So here we are now, and you get me, like I'm becoming like a bit obsessed with this guy. And I remember getting my nails done and writing his like initials on my nails. Like if you know, back in them days, like girls used to do that. Oh God help us. I used to I got my nails done, wrote his name on it. I'll come back and show him, look, whatever. And I remember his response was that he had a little smile, but it wasn't the kind of response I expected, which will make sense later. It was just sort of like, okay. And then I used to also do this thing where, like, let's say I've gone out to do my errands, whatever. When I get back home, because he used to come and see me quite regularly, so I will get back home and I will proper make a thing of it, like preparing for him to come every single time. And he was coming regularly, like almost every day, as long as he was around. So I will get back home, go and have the shower, do my makeup. Like it was like an occasion, this guy coming. Like when I look back at it, I'm like, like another thing that stood out to me. I talk about this gentleman, I think in part whatever early parts of 10 Ways I Ruined My Life, when I told you about the guy that I was prepared to sleep on the street for just so I can go and visit him in prison. This guy ended up calling me, and he's like, "Yo," because he's remember I told you he ended up in prison. That's why we stopped seeing each other. Now, after years or whatever, he's officially out. So he's called me like, yo, I'm out again and blah, blah, blah. But now I'm with this guy. I basically was like, no to him, which I never thought the day will come where he will call me, say I'm out or whatever. And I'll be like, no. I went from being prepared to sleep on the street to now being like, nah, I don't want no business with you. I didn't tell him why, whatever. But in my head, I'm like, no, I've got a new person that like, I'm crazy about. So get off my line. Another time, yeah, it showed up, yeah. And this guy, I mean, there's this new guy that I've met. It was his birthday. Do you know what I went to go and do? I don't know where I got the idea from. I was just trying to do the most. Do you know what I went to get him for his birthday? I went and I bought him a star. I said, yes, the star in the sky. You can go and pay to buy a star, um, which has an exact constellation. So if you search for the star, you'd find it. And when you buy it for someone, they once you buy it, the star is named after that person. So if I give you the constellation of the star I bought this guy, you would put in the constellation in, and the internet will show you that the name of the star is dot dot dot's name, his first name and his last name. I know, like I was trying to do the most. Like, this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying that I was proper into him. When I gave him that gift, he must have thought, right, like this is deep, this is special. But he probably thought, yo, I want something I can touch, eat, smell. Why are you giving me a star that's in the blood in the sky? What am I gonna do with that? But it was supposed to be like a very, very, very extremely sentimental gift you can imagine. And I don't want to. I like. I don't necessarily regret it, but a part of me does because there are so many other people that I could have given that gift to. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It is what it is, you know. It happens. So I remember getting him the star. And then, guys, this is where it started to get a little bit ugly. Like I said to you, this guy was coming to see me regularly. Like it was part of my routine. I knew, okay, boom, 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 from this time on, yeah, he's gonna come see me. So one time I'm waiting for him, waiting for him, waiting for him. He's not he's not coming, and there's no contact. So, you know, in the beginning you try to hold it, you're like, well, I'm not gonna say nothing. If he doesn't say nothing, I'll leave it. But time was going, time was going. So I was like, bruh. So I messaged him. I was like, yo, what's going on? And he was like, oh, yeah, 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 no, everything's cool, but I'm not going to come today. And I remember switching, like, I'm sitting here waiting for you. You couldn't even tell me. Da, 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 da. But I wasn't like, because that's fair. Like, I have every right to say that because as far as I'm concerned, this is what we do regularly. So obviously I'm expecting you to come, but you're right. You don't have to come, but I'm expecting you to come. So I do have a fair reason to be like, oh, okay, right, at least let me know. But I kind of overdid it. Like I didn't realize I'd be that upset. I was proper upset. And when I look back, it's because like he was basically maintaining my emotional stability. Like I was using him to like keep me stable. You understand? Like that's where my happiness was coming from. That's the one thing I could kind of look forward to, if that makes sense. Because what happened was where I was staying previously, I had a few bedrooms who lived around me, but I can't remember why I ended up moving. So now where I'm moving, I'm alone. I'm alone. I'm lacking a room. It's like a shared house. There's other steps. I've got someone who lives opposite me, and she's not really that friendly or anything. So I'm basically like alone. So him when he came into my life, and now you get me, we're like friends and all that, whatever, doing our thing. It's having a big impact in my life. Like it matters to me. Like I'm counting on you for me to be okay. So you not coming and not telling me you're coming was like a big thing for me. So that was one of the signs there where I was like, right, you're becoming a bit obsessive. Then a time comes, he sent me a message and he goes, oh, it's getting a bit on top at my uncle's. Is it okay if I can come and stay with you? When he said that, I originally thought he meant like, you know, he's having Paso or something like something's gone wrong with his uncle. So I was giving him all that talk, like, oh, you know how life is, blah blah blah. It's all right, it will work out. But still in my head, I was like, yes, of course you can come. Like this is a dream come true. Like you want to move in with me, I was excited about you coming every evening. But if you want to move in with me, absolutely, yes, 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 yes. Come now if you may. So like I remember being on a high that day. That night, hey, I don't think I slept. I was like, yes. So I can't remember whether it was that night or some time after, but he came, come with his little suitcase. And that's when I knew, yes, when I saw him come with a suitcase, I knew this is real. Like, yo, this is happening. So I was gassed. So now he's basically living with me more time. As long as he's in the area, he's living with me. Then one of them weeks must have come where he's going back to stay with his family for a bit. So he's going to stay with his family, and those weeks were always hard for me. Like I said, I relied on him emotionally. So when he used to go for those weeks, it was tough. So he's there now. I've come home from whatever, and so I flick open my phone, coming to message him because obviously we still talk during the week, just message, not on the phone. So I'm coming to message him, and then I notice there's a girl on his DP. So I'm like, okay. I knew instantly what it was, but I was like, I'm not gonna say nothing. Like I wasn't prepared to lose this. Like that's how obsessed and emotionally dependent I was. We ended up having a conversation with the girl's DP right there. I didn't say a word about it. He didn't say a word about it. We just had our convo, left it as it is. Then what, a week later or whatever, he came back. We continued business as usual. Didn't even address it. Okay, remember that. So a time's come where he's gone out, and I think I went out as well, whatever. But I've come back before him, something like that. And then I'm noticing some stuff on the floor, like these little balls on the floor, and I'm like, all right, what's that? That's not mine. So I pick it up. As I pick one up, I'm noticing another one. So I pick another one, and then there's like a little trail. So I've gone and I've picked a few, and I've ended up maybe got like 6 or 8 in my hand. I'm like, oh, what's this? So I put it aside. He comes back home, and I'm like, yo, I found these, on the floor. Like, do you know what they are? They're yours. I don't know. Like, I don't even have a clue what they are. And when he saw them, he was like, oh my days. He was like, where'd you find them? I said, I just found them on the floor. He was like, oh my days. Like, and grabbed them in it. So I'm like, you get me? I was like, wow, like, what's going on? And then he sat me down. He was like, look, basically, like, I come up here to basically trap. I'm like, okay, tell me more. He's like, yeah, basically, I come up here to trap, and I basically sell these things. So he broke it down to me. He's like, yeah, this is brown, this is that, and boom, boom, boom. He's like, yeah, so I'm up here for a week or whatever. Once I've done my thing and I get paid, that's when I go back home to be with my family, and then I come back up again another week to shop. So I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, okay. I don't think I processed it properly. We didn't really talk about it much ever again. But I was just like, okay. I guess I didn't really digest everything. But like I said, all I care about is him. So I'm like, cool. As long as you're here and that's what brings you here, fine. Do whatever you gotta do. So I remember having said that, yeah. Um, so just to put another thing in perspective, okay, no, sorry. I remember one time he came back. He brought a bottle. Either I got a bottle of some brown liquor, but because I didn't drink, I didn't. I just kind of left it there, or he brought it. Can't remember. But this brown liquor had been sitting there for ages, right? The brown liquor was there. He used to bring like a little bag of weed, yeah. People don't do it now. Now you get your nice little polished white see-through um ting holder, or even some of you got them hardcore plastic lid where you got your smoke in there. But these days I'm talking about shotters used to rip like a plastic bag into bare little pieces, put the weed in it, tie it at the top, and then when you buy it, you just get in this little ripped up plastic bag from Tesco or Sainsbury's or whatever. So he used to come with that, and it was orange. So I believe that's Sainsbury's, right? He used to come with that. I was working at like this arcade game station, and I used to work at the bar, and then there was the kitchen next to me. So at the end, because I used to work till late, so at the end, whatever food was left, I used to grab it all and come back home with it. So if I was working that night, I would be the one who brings back the food. He would bring back the weed, and then like we eat, smoke, whatever. Boom. If I weren't working, then I'll cook. So that alcohol had been sitting there for a long time. No one's really touching it. But I remember one time he came back, sat down, opened the bottle, drank the whole thing in one go. It wasn't the large ones, but it was hefty still. It's one of them ones. Not them little ones, them little bottles, no. You know them ones there like that. So I remember looking at him like, what? Because look, I'm not a drinker. I can barely have a sip of it, sip of those type of drinks. Back then, now I can handle it, but back then, even the smell I didn't like. So to see someone down it like that, it had my back up a bit. So obviously I said to him, right, you're right. And you're like, yeah, cool. Never left it as that. So later on, when he finally declared like, yeah, basically I'm a shotter and I do this, I had a flashback of that. I was like, because it makes sense. You do hear like crazy stories about the trap and trap life and that. So I don't know what he saw that day, whether he saw somebody get done, whether he saw someone coming with a nasty wound. I don't know what he experienced that day that made him come back and down a whole bottle of brown juice. But now I know that it weren't good. You get me? Now it makes sense. Now I'm looking into it. So that was that. I remember, yeah, this is a little bit off topic, but it's all still to do with this guy. There was a local club that I used to go to. So one time I went there with my people, and he showed up with some of his bedrooms. So because he's there with his bedrooms, I wasn't really too around him. I knew he was coming, he knew I was getting there. But when we got there, we didn't really like, you wouldn't think these two live together. I think I might have nodded, greeted him once, whatever, and kind of went about my business. Just kind of doing my own thing, whatever. And then at the end of the night, he come to me and he was like, yo, what are you saying? I'm like, yeah, what are you saying? You know, boom. And then I think I made a joke like, you're gonna come, you coming back home with me. And he's like, yeah, he's like, of course I am. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah. I was like, oh, I thought you would go with your bedrooms. He was like, no. And then he goes to me, why were you moving? Like, why were you moving like that all night? Like, because like I said, we didn't really engage. And I was like, oh, I thought because you were with your bedrooms, you wouldn't want me to be around you or anything like that. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't, that's just like, not every girl thinks like that, but that's kind of what society kind of tries to teach us that, like, especially if you're like just a sighting or you're a link, you know, you're the, yeah, like I said, the side chick, you're supposed to be quiet, be on the side, not do the most. That's what he likes about that type of girl, that she's not causing attention, she's not trying to disrupt it, she knows her role, you get me? So I was trying to play into that, thinking that that's what he wanted, that's what will make him happy, that's what will make him like me more, by not being all over him and disturbing him and his man them, not knowing I had completely got it wrong. So now he's starting to look at me funny because he's thinking, bro, like, is that how you're moving? So when I'm trying to explain it to him, I could see this glaring at his eyes where he wasn't buying it. But I'm like, I promise you, like, that's how I was seeing it. If I knew that you were happy for me to be, I would have been even too much all on you all night. Like, we would have had a blast. But there's me thinking, so all of these mixed messages, misunderstanding between men and women, all this programming, all this weren't good. So that was quite sad. But luckily, And I think what happened was he's told his man them like, oh yeah, by the way, whenever I tell you I'm going to see my bedroom or whatever, this chick that I'm seeing, that's her. Here she is. And now he's pointed me out to them, but I'm not even chatting to him. I'm not even. So I don't know if it made him look like his man. They might have been looking at him like, yo, like, you sure, bro? It might have made him look dumb. I don't know, but he was just a bit like, wow, what's going on with you? So I just thought I'd throw that out there, like, okay, so a time came, yeah, where I was out on road. He had left before me and he was out on road. And we bumped into each other. I was like, yo, it's the first time we've ever bumped into each other out in public, besides the first time when we met. I'm like, yo, you good? He's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm just going this way. I was like, okay, yeah, cool. I'm just going this way. See you later. Yeah, see you later. Evenings come. Later has come. Once again, not hearing from him. No phone call, nothing. So I'm like, oh, what's going on? Then I think, try calling him. Not going through, not going through, not going through. So I was like, oh, left it for a bit, went to bed, woke up. Still, nothing's changed, nothing's different. I say that, sorry, because, oh, that's another thing. I cut a key through for my place. This is part of the bit where I was getting all like, oh, happy, excited. I cut a key through, and I remember the key ring was a matching key ring. Like, this is the depth of what I'm talking about. It was a matching key ring. Like, I had one half of the person, he had the other half of the person, something like that. Or he had the male version and I had the female version of the key ring, something. So I went to bed. Who knows? He could come and be the key in it. Wake up in the morning to no avail. He's not there. No message. Nothing. Guys, he just vanished. So obviously you can imagine what that was like for me. Can't find him. You have to remember, once again, I don't know none of his people them. So I haven't got anybody to turn to be like, yo, that's it. He's just vanished and that's that. There's nothing to it. But obviously, like I said, because I'm a little bit of like a bit obsessed, I didn't let it rest. I was just trying to find him, all this, all that. It got to a point where um I moved back. I wanted to go back to the area where my bedrooms were because now I'm proper isolated and he's out my life. So I'm not coping alone in this place. So I told the landlord, I need to get out of here now. I want to move back to where I come from. So the place where I wanted to move, though that estate agent was like, okay, cool. Yes, you can move back, but the place won't be ready. Like by the time I needed to leave where I was, the time that this new place was going to be available, I think it was like a week or 2 weeks. So I had this limbo of that nowhere to go. So I called my bedrooms, two guys who lived together. I said, yo, this is the situation I'm in. Can I come and crash at yours? They were like, yeah, cool, come crash. You can sleep in the living room until your place is ready. I was like, thank you. But before all that happened, guys, let me just give you a picture of what things look like when this guy vanished. There was a time actually, I saw him twice on the road. Separate from the last time I saw him, one time before that, yeah, I bumped into him and he was coming out this alleyway, and around the alleyway is a block of flats. So when he come out the alleyway and I see him, he's like, oh yeah, I'm just coming from my uncle. So I was like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. So when he vanished, I was like, the last one of the times I saw him, he was around those blocks. So could his uncle live in there? And they were nice blocks. It wasn't like, you get me, weren't down and out blocks. These were proper nice blocks. So I was like, could his uncle live in there? So guys, I was so desperate. Do you know what I went to do? I found a way. I hung around the blocks until someone opened the door. Managed to get in the blocks because it's one of them ones you need a pin. You can't just get in. Like I said, it's a bougie block. Get in. I'm like, okay, I need to find this guy. So, you know what I did? I attempted to knock almost every single door to ask them, like, yo, do you know a guy? Like, I wanted, so no, what my plan was that when they open the door, if he's basically like a black person, then I'll be like, yo, like, are you dot dot dot's uncle? And guys, this was a tower block. It probably had 14 floors, like it was high. But I was so obsessed. I was like, I need to find this guy. So I start my search, but I'm like, yo, this is tedious. Like, by the time I get to a certain block, maybe someone would have reported me or whatever. So I did something stupid. I said, I'll go to each corridor. If I can maybe potentially smell weed or hear any loud music or hear some certain type of voice or whatever, boom, I'll knock the door. Knocking doors, knocking doors, knocking doors, knocking doors to no avail. So I was like, rah, down and out. Tried searching on the internet, trying to find him on social media. Nothing, no links. I think he had one Facebook page, but you know when you're not friends with people, you can't really, and we weren't friends, so it weren't giving me nothing that I needed. So now it's starting to affect me. It's starting to affect me. Do you know what I started to do, guys? Yeah. I don't know how to describe it, but I don't know if I went on, I don't know what type of strike this was, yeah. But I stopped dressing normally. I covered my hair with like a cloth. I would wear this like long baggy cardigan and then I wear a long skirt down to my feet. I stopped wearing earrings. I stopped wearing makeup. Like, I don't know how to describe what I look like. Like, I don't want to be stereotypical or try to give an example of something, but just use your brain. Like, use your brain, guys. That is how much this thing was affecting me. I'm walking around like I'm like some old woman. Like I'm done. I'm done. Like barely eat, not doing much. And then I started suffering from nosebleeds. And then it got worse. I then developed this mad chest infection. I had to go to the GP. They were doing investigations. They had to end up putting an ECG on me. They were like, yo, you're having heart palpitations. I was like, what? They're like, yeah, your heartbeat ain't moving with the rhythm. Like you're missing a bit. You're missing a bit. I'm like, whoa, like I'm becoming ill now. Like at this point, I'm a sick person. Another thing I started to do, guys, yeah, there was a church in that area, a local church in that area. I was already kind of going to that church anyway, but then when this happened, I started becoming like a fanatic. Like I was dodging work and all other stuff, and I was just everything the church was doing, I was there. I was there. I was in the church every day. I remember one time it snowed. It was so thick. They were doing something. I walked through the snow to get there. Like it was almost like my new lifeline, I guess. But it wasn't healthy. Like it wasn't. You know, some people they go through things and then they turn back to God, and then it's like, okay, cool. This is having a good. The reason for this and the impact is good. This one wasn't like that. This one was very unhealthy. Like because it wasn't about God. I don't even remember thinking about God when I was doing all that. I don't know what I was thinking about. I don't know where my head was at, but I wasn't building a relationship with Christ. No, I just went into some next military, I don't know. So, and this is how you know that it wasn't about no God thing necessarily, because I remember sleeping on my bedroom's floor wanting to buy weed. So I called a friend of mine and I said, have you got a number? like of a shot that I can go and grab something from? He's like, yeah, cool, I'll send it to you. He sends it to me. I called the guy. I'm like, yo, can I come and link you and grab something? He's like, yeah, sure. I walk, go link him. He drops the bag of weed in my hand, yeah. What did he drop in my hand? An orange Sainsbury's wrapped up weed bag. So when I see it, I look at it. I'm like, yo, do you know dot 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 dot? He's like, yeah, I do. I'm like, ah! Guys, I've been on a search for this boy. I'm looking for this boy. And now I'm going to buy weed. I end up buying weed from his shop or his bed, whatever. Obviously, this guy don't know me, and I'm trying to get info. So he was a little bit like, you get me, but he wasn't giving me much, but he just said, I do know him. Like, if at that I can tell you that I do know him. So for me, that was a relief. I was like, like I felt like, oh my God, God's on my side. He's helping me find him. I'm getting closer. You know, all that type of thinking. So I was like, cool, I'm not gonna force that out of you, but this is good enough for me. This is giving me hope. So it reignited that hope again. So like I'm on it. I can't remember how long after, but one fateful day, my phone's ringing. Private number. I'm like, because it wasn't that long after I bought the weed from the guy, because I remember I was still staying in my bedrooms on my bedroom's floor. So yeah, it would have had to be about 2 weeks, because I'm only waiting about 2 weeks for this place. Phone rings. I'm like, hello? It's the guy. He's like, yo. I'm like, yo. I was like, what is going on? Where have you been? Because by now, guys, it's easily been, I don't want to get the times wrong, but it's been long. I'll say minimum 3 months. One day I saw him, the next day he was gone. So I'm like, yo, what's going on? He said, you know, the last day I saw you, where we bumped into each other on the road, he said when we walked past each other, he bust a corner. And when he bust the corner, he got nicked by feds. And then obviously they blah, 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 banned him from the area and all these type of things. I was like, what? He was like, yeah, literally, as I turned the corner and left you, maybe 5 minutes after that, whatever, boom, it got me. So yeah, boom, 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 whatever. He was explaining to me what happened and kind of what's going to happen next, and how basically he was telling me like basically I'm not coming back, like I'm not allowed back in the area, etc., etc. So I've got bare mixed emotions. I'm like, I'm happy you've called, but I'm angry that you left it this long. I'm sad that basically this is actually officially over, because you can never come back and I live here. So if you can never come back here, then I guess I can go and see him. But you know what I mean? That whole setup, that whole, oh, he's coming this evening, getting ready, and him being my daily um stabilizer is gone. It's just gone, and I need to accept that. So I'm very gutted, but I'm happy he's called. So he's like, all right, cool. You know what? I'm gonna call you back. So I was like, all right, cool, cool, cool. Call me back. Obviously, he called me on private number. Never called back. Now you can imagine me. I'm over the moon. Can't believe it. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm waiting for the call back. I think a call's coming back at least 2 days. In 2 days' time. Days coming, going, coming, going, coming, going, coming. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this guy come back. So that took me through another hurtful process. It took me through another hurtful process. So during this time of mourning, so to speak, I met this other guy. Can't remember where I met him. He might have just been general on the road. And nice, handsome fella. Seems like a gentleman. So I was like, generally not my type, but in a good way. You understand? Not like, you're not my type. Just you're lovely, you're a handsome man, but my brain would never think of you, put it that way. So he's approached me and we start talking. And then I think a little bit later, whatever, on the phone or face to face, I can't remember, he goes to me, oh, by the way, just to let you know, I'm actually in jail. I'm like, I've been there before, bro. I said, actually, no, I didn't tell him. In my head, I'm like, yes, I know all about it, mate. I know all about it. This one was a little bit different. He was like, I'm doing I'm doing 10 years. I can't remember how far gone he was already, but he's like, I've got 10 years for M dot. I don't want to say the word for YouTube to give me any trouble because they recently put a little, not full fledged restriction, but they've done something to the video where I say the impact that my childhood had on me today. I don't know what it is. I've told them, tell me exactly what it is so that I can get to know my limits. So I don't want to go and say this word and then get an issue with it. But use your brain. If someone going to jail doing about 10 years for M dot, M dot. So I can't lie, when I heard, I was like, this thing's starting to rank up, man. I'm like, this one, it did get my back up. I thought, for you to come across so much like a gentleman, you're a handsome gentleman, but that's what you've done and what you're in for. I'm not judging him, but I'm just saying it didn't match. So basically, you're a nutter. Like, there's just no other way. Like, you must be a bit psycho. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather you just move like an outright, and then it's easy for my brain to put it together. But the way you're looking, talking, and move, maybe he. You're right. Actually, maybe he had become reformed. Maybe, but anyway, that's not for me to find out. I'm not trying to be doing no experiment on whether he's reformed or not. So in my head, I was like, but cool, whatever. I talked a little bit here, there. He goes, oh, I would like to take you on a date. I'm like, guy in jail taking a, a free citizen on a date. I'm like, this world. I said, yeah, okay, no worries. But one thing that stood out to me, was he wasn't even like, where would you like to go or what do you fancy? He was very much like, there's this place, they sell this type of food, we'll go there. I was like, okay, fine. But that stood out to me. I was like, okay. So anyway, I meet him there. We get there now. We're there. First things first, he's like, here. He's giving me a gift, wrapped up and everything. I'm like, this is what I mean when I say how he was moving, the kind of guy he was. I was like, okay. I was like, and he caught me off guard at that moment because I was like, oh my god, the gift. You know, I forgot that this guy's a clap M dot. I forgot that the way he set up this date was a bit, you get me, not controlling, but it just had that smell to it. I forgot that when I saw the gift, I forgot, and that's the issue, eh? So I take the gift. I'm like, oh, thank you. And then date went on, and I remember him saying some stuff that just kept me. I just thought, I'm not sure about this guy, but I was desperate. I was looking for that connection again, so I didn't write him off straight away. I just kept saying, but I was just I knew deep down, nah, I don't think this is gonna be gonna work. I get home now, open his gift. When I open the gift, it's a book. I'm not being stereotypical because I know people, whatever, read these stuff and believe and enjoy these stuff and it's part of their lifestyle. So I don't want to get it wrong, but the book here, it was like some spiritual thing. It had some like Egyptian stuff on it and then some other stuff on it and a lot of symbols and all that. So the moment I saw it, I was like, here we go. Like, I don't know what it is about these spiritual guys that be chasing me everywhere, trying to, I don't know what it is, but they're on me. They're on me. So the moment I see the book, I'm like, oh. Then shortly after, he calls me, oh, you seen the gift? I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, give it a read, it's good, give it a read, we'll talk about it. Da, da, da. So I could tell already he wants me to read the book, understand the book, then he's going to try to school me on the book. Once again, he wants to teach me on the book, try to change my mind, get me involved in whatever that is that he's involved in, take me under his wing, and then the motions continue. So I was just like, and remember, by this time, I'm though it's not healthy, but I'm kind of on this church craze. So at that time, that book weren't really connecting with me. But what did it? My guy goes to me, yeah, you know, me and you. Oh, all right, sorry about that, family. Baby boy woke up. So the bit that did it for me, yeah, my man calls me or whatever, face to face. I believe it was a call. He goes, yo, you know, me and you, yeah. He goes, me and you, yeah, we're gonna become, or I'm gonna make us become the next Jay-Z and Beyonce. When I heard that, yeah, that's when I said, yeah. I knew you weren't correct, but now I know you're not correct. I'm like, look at me, Beyonce, with something tied on my head, long skirt till hair there. I look like you're telling me Beyonce. You're joking. That guy had plans for me I was not ready for. That guy had intentions I was not ready for. But the moment I heard that Jay-Z and the moment I heard Jay-Z and Beyonce, I said, I'm gonna have to let this guy go. I think I actually, because what happened was he tried to give me some an ultimatum. He tried to say something like, you know, try to ask me outright, like, you get me? Like, are you on this? You wanna do whatever? And then I just had to tell him on the phone, like, you know what? Actually, no, nah, it's cool. Let's leave it here, whatever. And I was a little bit like, because like I said, I was hungry for some sort of connection. But I said, not this guy, man, not this guy. This is not what I am looking for. You understand? So some time passes. Mommy. Yeah, you right? I'm quickly doing this video. I'll be finished soonish, yeah? Yeah. Good. Some time passes. I'm slowly getting back on my feet. One of my friends come to me. They said, "Yo, there's this job going. I'm jumping on it. Whatever. I've told a couple people. Do you want to jump on it?" So I jump on it. So now I got this job doing my little thing there. Then one day, that same friend comes to me, and he said, "Yo, okay." So sorry to put this in perspective. This is like a year later. My friend comes to me and said, "Oh, by the way, there's someone who's looking for your number. They're asking my weed man, because my weed man is asking me, is telling me that someone he knows is looking for your number. And my weed man somehow knows that I know you, so he's asked me, and now I'm asking you, can I give my weed man your number to give to this person?" So straight away I knew what time it was, because this is my friend who gave me the weed man's number. Then I linked him and I saw the orange bag. So now this same friend saying this to me, I'm like, oh, yes, yes. I'm like, okay. So I'm a bit uptight now. I'm like, look at this idiot about trying to call me after you told me you will call me back. This is your call back after a year. This is your call back. But obviously, like I said, I was quite caught up in this guy. So eventually I was like, all right, cool, yeah. Give him my number. So there and then, finished work, on my way home, my phone's ringing. I'll pick up. He's like, yo, I just gave it to him. I was like, you, blah, blah, blah. Said what I had to say. And he was just, oh, it's not like that. And all that rubbish talk. But stupidly, this is a pivotal moment. Stupidly, he was like, okay, cool, can I come see whatever? Stupidly, I said, yeah, okay, whatever, come. So he came to pay me a visit. Now, for some reason, I've got a lot of anger. I'm spiteful more towards his girlfriend or whoever that girl was on the DP. So I'm like, I asked him about it this time. Remember last time I didn't ask, so now I'm asking. I'm like, dot, dot, dot. He's explaining things. And I can't even remember. This is so bad. But I remember after all that, a time came where she came up in the conversation again. What? And how it sounded was like, yeah, basically, I am kind of still with her, you understand? But because I was spiteful, and by this time, I'm just in some next headspace, yeah. I basically repeated the same thing, but loudly this time. So this time I was like, yeah, whatever, forget about her. Like, you get me? I'm the girl that you need, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, still come see me, let's link, whatever. All of that kind of talk. Whereas before, I guess I was on that mindset, but I wasn't saying it with my mouth. So yeah, I'm in a spiteful place, yeah. I'm like, yeah, forget her, whatever. I'm the girl that you need, all that. So he's playing off that. He's like, okay, yeah, if you're still willing, I'm willing. Whatever. So what happened was we reignited things, and though he was back where he was based, from time to time I was still able to see him every now and then. So that was going on. But so we were basically casually linking up on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off. And what brought the offs on, yeah, was there was times where I'll wake up and I'll be back on the Christian thing. Then I'll send him a message. Oh, by the way, blah 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 blah. Like I no longer want to link with you. I'm on this thing now. And then he would always be like, "That's absolutely fine. I got love for you. Whatever you need, I'm here. Cool." Then I'd be like, "All right, go about my business. Won't engage with him for a bit, and then something will happen. I'll slide off the Christian thing. Then I'll send him a message like, hey, and whenever I go back, I will never do a full announcement. Oh, hi, by the way, I'm no longer on that and I want to jump back on this. I will just say hi, and then he would always know what time it is. He'd be like, hey, he'd be like, you good? I'm like, I'm good. And then boom, we'll go back in. So guys, this was happening. This was happening for like 6 years. Like when I say I was chained into this thing, I was chained into this thing. Another issue, this guy used to always bother me about threesomes. Like, yo, I want to have a threesome. I would love to have a threesome. I'll be like, no, that's not my thing. Like, I used to be like proper admin. Like, no way. Like, I'm not on that level. And I used to be like, look, at the end of the day, I'm not your girl. I know that for sure. So go and have your thing with someone else, innit? And do you know one time what he said to me, which should have really just been like a slap in my face? Me being cheeky, I was like, why don't you go and have a threesome with this girl that was on the DP, your girlfriend, and someone else? And he was like, nah, like, I love my girl, so I won't do that. I was like, I remember that cutting deep. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? So how do you feel about me? Stupidly, obviously he doesn't love me, but I remember that time, that was like, a little twist in my heart, like he stabbed me. I was like, rah, he's saying that to my face now. That's how it kind of goes. I mean, you know what I mean? So, like I said, I'm spiteful about this girl. So, basically, what he's saying is that no, she will never have like a threesome with me. So, for me, I want to be everything that she's not, so that I get that spotlight in that role. So, eventually, I gave in, but I was like, look, I'm not an old girl to girl thing, so I'm happy for another girl to be there, but there ain't going to be no ism and schism between me and her. But, if you want to have an ism schism. So, one day, lo and behold, it finally happened. It was for like my birthday or something like that. Like my birthday came up or something like that. And then he was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna get a hotel and I don't need to go into details about that. It was nothing. I mean, I was just like, whatever. Not interested. It didn't win me over in any way. Like, I was just like, But I guess at that moment it was very clear to me, because right now, here we are, and he's sleeping with another girl in front of me. So it was a pivotal moment that I guess I needed, but still I was still blind, still didn't see it for what it was, still thought like, yeah, cool. And I know a lot of people get caught up in that, those blurry lines, like, oh yeah, but at least he wants to do it with me, or at least that they try to make you feel special, even though they are telling you that you're not through their actions. So that happened first time. So now he's come again. This is it. They always want more. Oh yeah, come, let's do it again, blah blah blah. Me like a fool, I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. But same, I'm not really on the girl thing, so you be there, you be there. But this time was a little bit better. What happened was a girl joined, but then his bedroom joined. So it was almost just like, two couples basically in one room, kind of, so to speak. So that was that. But what happened though, yeah, a time came where all four of us are on the bed, separate but still on the same bed. So his bedroom and this girl are doing their thing. But whilst his bedroom and the girl are doing their thing, his bedroom touches me like in an inappropriate way. So I remember like being a bit like, hold on. Like, have you lot tried to plan something here? Like, I remember like my back went up, but I don't know if the bedroom clocked, because he quickly like readjusted himself. So I didn't say that and I left it, but it did bother me. I couldn't get it off my chest. Like, I left it for ages, but I was like, nah, like, I'm not happy about this. So I brought it up to him. I brought it up to this guy, my guy. Ages later, I said, yo, when that day, your bedroom try to touch me, like, boom, boom. Because I wanted to know, did he know about it? Did him and his bedroom plan it? Did he tell his bedroom that, yeah, try a thing. If she goes with it, then she goes with it. Like, I wanted to know, because I think that would have been the straw for me. But he was like, what? No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that, really. I'm like, yeah. I don't know if he was acting dumb. Then he goes to me, oh, do you want me to talk to him about it? So obviously initially you're a bit like, because you don't want no trouble. So I was like, oh, no, I'm just mentioning it to you. Like, no. But looking back, that's probably a clear sign, because if you felt any way about your bedroom doing that to me, you won't ask him, do you want me to chat to him about it? You'll be like, 1 minute, I'll call you back. And you will go and call him, and you will ask him about it. Why are you asking me? Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe some people could argue and say, oh, maybe he wanted to know because it's delicate, so maybe he wants to make sure that you're okay with him talking about it. Maybe, but you get me? So already that kind of spoke to me. I was like, nah, this guy don't really care for you the way you think he does. He don't. It just reminds me. I can't even. I won't even be able to share that on the internet. There's some couple other things that happen, but they're just not internet worthy. And I guess that's where the book will come into it, because if I do write a book, by the grace of God, I will. I guess there's actually a lot more things I can put in the book that I can't put on YouTube. So that would go in there. So having said all that, guys, a time came when I'm at his house and I'm gonna leave soon, yeah. But what's happened is my earring has dropped and rolled somewhere. Can't see it. I'm just about started wearing earrings again. Remember, I told you I went through a phase. I stopped wearing them. As you can see, I don't even wear them now. I feel like a part of me is probably still a bit trapped there, because I still got my short hair. I still got no earrings. I'm not saying long hair and earrings and all that, is the way, but hey ho. So I'm like, oh, leave it, man. Any earring, if you see it, just whatever. You get me? It's nothing. I'm like, oh, don't worry yourself. So when I did that, he switched at me. He's like, nah, you got to find it. And I was like, what? Like, guys, like I said, this has been 6 years. I've never seen that guy switch. He's never been rude to me. He's never shouted at me. He's never raised his voice. I've never even seen him be rude to anybody else. Like, when I say he could almost be considered like a sweetheart, like a proper, you get me, cool person. When he switched like that, like, I was actually frightened. I've never been afraid of him before, ever in my life. But that moment, I just felt like, you better find that. Whether you want that earring or not, you better find it. Or this guy is going to deal with you in this room. So, finally, I'm like now digging under the bed because I'm like, whoa, what's come over you? Later on, I came to realize, I was like, okay, because this girl that I said I've been spiteful about in that, deep down, she didn't really matter, because you obviously don't matter to him, because he's cheating on you. He's messing about with you same way he's messing about with me. So that wasn't a real thing. That was just something I wanted to do. It was just helping me get energy out. But I knew me and her were basically on the same page. But when that airing thing happened, it was then that I realized he does have a girlfriend, and it's not the girlfriend that you've been thinking about that was on the DP from all them years ago. He's got another girlfriend, a proper girlfriend. Once again, still, he's obviously not dealing with her properly, because I'm sitting here in his bedroom. That's why my earrings is lost in his room. But there's something a bit more in his heart anyway, emotionally, much more serious with this current person, because that's the energy. It was almost like, you better find it, because if you don't find it and I don't find it, my girlfriend's going to find it, and she's not the type of girl that I want finding anything, because basically I don't want to lose this girl. You understand? So you need to find it. So once again, that was another peel off the blindfold. I was a little bit like, oh, it's not like you. I was like, okay. So I say all that to say, guys, yeah, I went from, when I first met this guy, I went from, oh, there's no point. Let's not switch numbers. You're not my type of guy. There's no point. I went from no point to sitting and waiting and preparing myself and my house for him to come and visit. I went from that to switching at him for not visiting. I went from that to searching the world upside down for him, changing my appearance, going into isolation, basically going into this like emotional mental fast. Like, I don't know what that bit was when I started tying my hair and dressing myself in a cloak. I still don't know the word for that. If you've got a word for that, please put it in the comment and let me know. I went from that to engaging in a threesome, something that I had no interest in ever, but just to police somebody, I was like, okay, cool. When I think about it, I'm just like, so anyway, after that bit with the switching over the airing, I knew it woke me up a little bit. I said, okay, you know what? So I started slowly backing off. And then after a while, it fizzled out because I've met somebody else. So I said to him, look, I met someone else. I'm on my own team, cool, whatever. Then 3 years later, after that point, I was asleep. I had one of them dodgy afternoon naps. So you're waking up around 5:36 and you're a bit of a mess. You're like, oh, what have I done? Who am I? Where am I? My phone starts vibrating. I look at my phone. It's my man. I'm like, Luckily, maybe a month at most, maybe even 2 weeks before that call came through, I came across a content creator, a YouTuber, not only a YouTuber, but he's got books and he does events and all that, called Tony Gaskins. Tony, send me a check. In-house joke, if you know, you know. I came across Tony Gaskins, yeah. Basically, cutting a long story short, what Tony does, yeah, he basically just lays out to you the rawness and the reality of the games that guys play with women. Not only games, but when a guy does something, what it truly means. When a guy's on this, what it really means about him. Like it is like, I don't know, it's mad. Like what listening to him, yeah, broke so many chains in my brain. Like it had my mouth open because I was like, oh my god, that is so true. It's not so true in the sense that, oh yeah, okay, I see. No, because I had gone through everything already. I had gone through the good of the relationship, I've gone through the bad, and I've gone through the aftermath. So, and these are from other past relationships. So when Tony's saying these things, I'm like, I'm not in the middle of this. I've gone through the whole thing. So I know exactly what you're saying. Because if I listened to you when I was in the middle of the relationship, I would have maybe doubted you and been like, not every guy's like that, or not because that's how I felt at the time when I was with these guys. But after those peaks and it dropped and I saw the aftermath and I really realized what they were on, I was like, oh, and literally this guy broke it down as if he's just walked with me throughout my life in my relationships. It broke so many chains. It gave me so much closure. It helped me to understand so many things. I was just like, what? I've been messed about, man. I've been messed about. Like I've been messed about bad. So when I see my phone ringing and it's this guy, Tony has already explained to me what this call means. Like Tony's already broken down to me. When you get a call 3 years later, I can quote to you what this is about, why he's calling, what the plan is, everything 3 years later. So now Tony saved me. I'm like, on a normal day, from how I used to feel about this guy. First of all, it wouldn't have been 3 years before I've heard from him. Second of all, I probably would have been the one calling him. Third of all, you think when he calls, I never used to see the red button, only the green, only green. Now, I'm just thinking, no way in hell would I pick up your call. No way in hell would I pick up your call. Turned the phone over, left it there. Now, this is the bit. This is the bit that let me know what time it was. Not long ago, I had a dream. From the time I met him to the time I've had the dream is 12 years. Okay? It's 12-year timeline. So I've had the dream not long ago, a couple years ago, at most. In the dream, I'm sitting down here. He's sitting next to me. And a girl is sitting next to him on the other side. The girl hands me a paper. I look at the paper. There's a long list of things on the paper. And the things on the paper is everything that I had ever planned for myself. All the things I ever hoped for, all the things I ever wanted to do, be, everything. At first, I didn't digest it. I was just looking at the list. Then I was like, hold on. This is everything I've ever wanted. These are all the plans and the goals that I had for my life. So I was like, So I turned to look at her, and it's the girl who was on the DP all them years ago that I saw. So I was like, what? She's like, yeah. She said basically like, so what had happened is she now owns all that. Cutting a long story short, she basically owned my destiny. Everything that was on the sheet that was supposed to be for me was hers. She said to me, look, if you want this back, then you got to do a job. You got to work. There's a job that I got for you to do. If you want it back, then you can have it back. So I'm like, you idiot. I'm like, no. Because now I've realized that all I needed was awareness. Now you've shown me that all this has been taken from me. That's all I needed. I don't need to do a job to get it back. Definitely not a job like for you. I was like, no way is that happening. I guess I still had that spitefulness for her. I'm thinking, how dare you ask me to do something for you? So I turn and I look at him in the middle, and he's looking all like sad. He's giving me that look like, I'm so sorry. I didn't want to do this to you. You know, me and you are cool. You know, me and you are friends. You know, I care about you. But basically, she forced me to do it. She sent me to come into your life to do this to you. And I looked at him like, bro. I was like, bro, like, you did this to me. You did this to me. That dream was a painful dream. That dream was a painful dream. Now, I'm not saying it's literal. I'm not saying that him and this girl was on some voodoo thing or whatever, and they plotted and planned and they came to look for me and they found me. And I don't know if that's true. It could be. Guys, this is how I sold my soul for sure. I don't know about their part, but my part. Because my part's the most important part. When the first day I met him, and he said to me, he was trying, and I kept saying no, no, no. But when he used weed and alcohol, and I said yes, boom. That was the first entry in, a weak point. They always come and use what you like, what they know. As for this, they can't dodge this one. As for this, they can't deny this one. That's why self-control is vital. So that's how he got in. Once he was in, he put up the DP. The DP was another opportunity for me to say, no, I don't want to partake in this. I don't want to partake in deception, lying, cheating, and all that. But what did I do? I kept my mouth quiet, being selfish, and I was like, forget her. That was another door in. That was me now giving my full-fledged consent, saying, I'm on it. I'm prepared to do the evil required, because I was thinking about myself. Because I was like, yeah, well, I want him. Another pivotal moment. Remember I told you when the first time we were getting jiggy, I felt something leave my soul. And it was after that, that's when the self-control really went out. So you had the weed, that was a step in. The sex, basically, I think I had control after that. I probably didn't. By that time, it had already been gone. It's just like, okay, yeah, we got it now. We might as well continue to use you. And that showed up in so many different ways. Moving in, sex, threesome, some other stuff that I can't really talk about on the internet, and so on, and so on. Guys, let me tell you something, yeah? Selling your soul and all that is never something, there's no literal place you go to necessarily. There's not something you always have to take. There's not always some symbol. There's not always some Illuminati stuff. Sometimes it's simply saying yes when you should have said no. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Just from saying yes when you should have said no. 12 years later, all the things I went through, just because I said yes and didn't say no to weed and drinking. So when they say, oh, a gateway drug, weed is a bit like a gateway drug, sometimes people are like, oh, whatever, shut up, because they're thinking, gateway drug, I'm never going to go harder than weed. And they don't. Lots of people don't develop past weed. They stick to the weed thing. But sometimes it can be a gateway into different other things. It can be gateways to dodgy situations like this. Gateway to a different type of mindset. Gateway to be like mentally blind. Gateway to becoming a slave to people. It can be a gateway in that sense. Because once it infiltrates your mind, it's difficult. Literally, weed was a gateway for them to get into my life, because that's what I first said yes to. A blood clot zoo packaged in a Sainsbury's orange bag, ain't worth nothing. Dust. 12 years later, I'm having a dream, holding a piece of paper with things on that list that is so much more than what weed is and what weed could have ever given me. At the end of the day, now I don't even smoke. So what was all that for? I could have gained so much more if I stuck to it. my initial feeling, which was no. And guys, when I say I was so persistent about no, I started even feeling bad about it. That's what broke me. So my persistent no was a sign in itself. But eventually, trying to be a nice person, and then he topped it off with the weed, I gave in. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Okay, cool. Guys, I ain't got nothing fancy to tell you here about how I sold my soul. You know, I didn't go to one place and meet some person and take some charm. This is how I sold my soul. Because after this, guys, all the stuff I'll be telling you, 10 ways, oh, this is the beginning. All them things came after this. Maybe one or two things were before this, but a majority is after this point. I went pop, 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 pop. So guys, please mind yourself. Watch yourself. Watch yourself. Watch yourself. Watch yourself. The snipers out there, you don't know how they're coming. You don't know how they're coming. You don't know how they're coming. But God's in control. At least that dream came. It woke me up. I was like, rah, I messed up. I messed up. And now they want me to pay them to get my destiny back. That's how much they'll take the piss out of you if you let them. It's just that in that dream I said, nah, you're taking the piss. But I had another dream where I knew God's on my side. I don't need to share that one, but I know that God's on my side. He's on all of our sides as long as we do what we know is right. Sometimes the right won't look the same for all of us. But in our hearts, do we know what we're doing is right? And we said yes or no to it. Which one? You understand? That's what he's going to judge you on. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. I'm going to leave it there. Those are the things that happen once I sold my soul. Those are the things that happen. Watch yourself. Thank you for joining me. Lots of love. Peace.